Yo, what's going on, guys and girls? My name is Simply Mac, or aka Just Mac, and in this one I am doing a video on an app that I have found and I keep seeing recommended on YouTube. It is called Lossless Scaling. I'll pop it up on the screen there so you guys can see it. So if you don't know what lossless scaling is, it is an app you can use on Steam. I'll put a photo of it somewhere on the side. It is basically a software on Steam which costs, I think it's £4.99 Great British pounds. That is, I think that's $6 or something like that, $7. Basically, it renders your FPS. So if you have one frame and you have another frame, so that's 1 FPS, 2 FPS. So in between that 1 FPS and 2 FPS, I'll try and make it a bit easier on screen so you guys can see it. So it interlinks two frames, so it puts two frames inside of a frame. So you have 1 FPS and then 1, 2, and then another FPS. So basically what it does is it boosts your FPS. So I bet technically it does give you more frames. Yes, technically, but it uses AI to do this. So like same as like DLSS and FSR. It's AMD. I've got an AMD system behind me. I will put my specs in the description down below. A very good example for this lossless scaling is Cyberpunk 2077, and it works so well on there. So I don't have it installed at the moment, but I do have another game we can try, which is Ghost of Tsushima on the PC. I do get around, I'd say 45, 50 to 60 FPS in certain scenarios, roughly around that range on very high settings. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. It's just, I just wanted to show you guys this app, and if you guys do have a low to mid-range PC, and it's probably not the best PC out there, you don't have any 3080s or i7 9900Ks, anything like that. Obviously, if you've got like a decent PC, like a budget PC, check this app out. It is on Steam. Again, I'll pop it up on screen again so you guys can see that it is on Steam, and it doesn't cost too much, and there's a few little sort of downsides to it as well. I will show you. Obviously, I'm not going to boast and say it's the best program ever made, because as good as it is, it does have its own downfalls as well. But let's jump on the PC and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the app right here, Lossless Scaling. You can buy it on Steam, and I will pull it up here as I'm speaking. So this is the app. Literally, it's just $5.89. That's Great British pounds, that is. So first things first, this is the program. So once you have installed Lossless Scaling, which has actually just been updated to 2.13, it looks quite simple on the get-go. It does look really simple, and it's kind of annoying me. I can't record on OBS, but anyway, it is what it is. So the first, on the left side, you have scaling mode. Obviously, I wouldn't mess around with that because it's obviously to do with your widescreen support monitors. If you have a widescreen like resolution, certain resolutions you have to enable yourself. You don't really have to worry about that. I'm using a standard 1080 on this monitor, 1080p, 165 Hz, I think it is, and my other two monitors. Don't really have to worry about them too much for gaming anyway. And then you get your scaling type, which obviously is FSR if you're on the video, no, AMD, sorry. Then you have a bunch of other ones, LS1, SG, SR. Not really played around with them too much. You have sharp linear. Obviously there you can use FSR. I've tried FSR on here and it does work pretty well. But for now I'm going to turn it off and not use that. So here on the right hand side you can select obviously off 3.0, 2.3 and 1.1. So for the newest update, obviously they've just released the 3.0 version, and I'll be running it on, I usually run it on ×4, but for this one I'm going to run it on ×2, so you can see the difference between ×2, 3 and 4. You don't have to really worry about too much. Obviously HDR. I would recommend also putting on G-Sync support and draw FPS, so you can see the increase or decrease of your FPS or whatever you're getting, and just leave pretty much everything as it really is. Obviously if you have multiple displays, put on multi-display mode. Obviously quite self-explanatory, but that's the software. Obviously going to get rid of that for now. Open Ghost of Tsushima, and I'll see you when we win the game. Alright, so I've moved the GoPro to another position. So basically what I'm going to do first is I'm going to obviously show you guys my settings. So I'm going options, graphics, and I'm running high, pretty much everything on high. Nothing too intense. I'm going to turn that motion blur down a bit. I don't really like that motion blur. But, so that's on my settings there on the left hand side, as you can see down there. Obviously I have my PC can run the game. Obviously I'm getting 111 FPS right now, which obviously is just in the main menu, which can be a lot different in the game. But we will jump into the game right now. We'll press continue. We'll let it load up, and then I'm going to show you guys how it runs before lossless scaling, and then with lossless scaling so you guys can see the difference. Again, sorry for the camera quality. I know it's not the best, and obviously I'm trying my best with the mic as well. But obviously you're going to see the difference of the quality, like massively, you will see it. But I'm hoping the GoPro obviously does a good justice of actually showing it. Obviously we're in a cutscene right now, I'm getting 88 FPS, if you can see at the top right there. I don't know how clear it's going to look, So we just finished the first part of the prologue-ish. Just walking up, getting 77 FPS. Let me walk down this way a little bit. 76, 79. So I'd say an average around, oh no, it's dropped down to 66 now. I'd say an average of around 65 to 70 FPS. So that's the difference at the moment. So I'm hoping obviously the GoPro is doing the justice of showing the quality. It does look really good to me. But now I'm going to show you guys the lossless scaling part. So I have now obviously got lossless scaling open. So everything's already set. Don't have to worry about latency and all that stuff. Leave it all default. You don't really have to touch it. So what I do is I press. So once you have pressed scale, quick FYI, forgot to mention, make sure you run your game in borderless window or borderless windowed mode, whichever you want to call it, because it captures it a much easier way, I think. I don't really know. But anyway, so once you press scale, after around 5 seconds, before that 5 seconds is over, make sure you open up your game again. So obviously I don't think I'm running the game in borderless right now, so let me check. Exclusive full screen, so I'll change that to, oh no, exclusive full screen, there we go. Or is it full screen? Anyway, so let me just open this again, lossless scaling. So once you press scale mode, get a 5 second counter, timer there, you open up your game again, get a little bit of jittering, just a little bit. And then on the top left of your screen, I'm hoping the GoPro is picking it up. You should see some numbers pop up on your top left of your screen. So you'll have your normal FPS, which obviously right now it's dropped all the way down to 38 to 41. But on the top right in Steam, I'm getting 62 FPS, which is I don't really know how it works. Like I said, it uses AI to implement them few extra frames into your game, kind of. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpause. And so the game is now running at 108 or 110 FPS. And that's with the ×2 mode, and at the moment I'm getting no screen artifacts, I'm getting absolutely nothing. The game looks absolutely unreal, very playable. Few little instances you will be able to notice eventually at one point, which I will explain in a second, but it is 100% more than playable right now. I can walk around, feels exactly the same as it would play normally, feels insane. Like, it's such an easy way to get good frames without having to spend money really. Obviously you have to pay for the program, which is quite cheap. And 100% worth it, which I might add. But obviously I'm going to show you guys the different modes. So you have the ×2, the ×4, the ×2, the ×2 and the ×4. So I'm going to skip the ×3 because I won't ever really use ×3 personally. Obviously guys, it's personal preference for whoever. But I'm going to put on the ×4 and show you guys what really is a little bit of a drawbacks of what this could be. So once you've done that, you obviously unscale. You have an unscale option there, you unscale it. You scroll back up to the top, then you have your modes, you have your ×3, ×4, and obviously custom. So I'm going to click ×4. I wouldn't really mess around with the custom. Don't really want to mess around with that too much because I think you can cause artifacts to look very strange in game. So I've got it set to ×4, 3.0, press scale, open up the game again, give it a few seconds to load. You obviously will know once it's loaded because at the top left of your screen you will get that FPS counter. So I'm going from the 110 FPS all the way to 208 in the menu. Obviously I unpause the game. And now I'm getting 165 FPS, which is capped at my refresh rates on my monitor at the moment, and it feels just so smooth. You get that tiny little bit of input lag. Before they updated it to the 3 or the 2 no, the 4 times, sorry. Before they updated it to the 4 times, you did have some very strange artifacts. Obviously now they've updated it again, it's a lot smoother. You get very less input lag. Feels very smooth. If you're playing on controller, it's the exact same aspect instead of the keyboard and mouse. It works both ways. It feels very like clean and how the game's meant to be running, just smooth, like very, very smooth. Obviously everything's not as 2D as you think it would be, if that's even a saying, but I'm going to call it that anyway. So basically, you can't, obviously you're using AI to upscale your game, that's pretty much what you're doing, but this obviously the AI is still in beta. I'm pretty sure this whole entire thing is still like in a beta kind of thing. I don't really know. Don't know too much about it, but I know obviously the ins and outs. Obviously I won't be making this video if I didn't. But technically I'm getting 165 FPS, if you guys can see that. I'll try zooming or something if you guys can see that. But in reality I'm getting 49 FPS, which obviously I've had a decrease in FPS to get the increase in FPS, and it's using AI to obviously fill in them 2 frames or 3 frames, but now it's technically using 4 frames within 2 frames. So I've got 1 frame, got 2 frames, and it's adding 4 frames at the bottom to integrate into technically 5 frames. And obviously you times that and you get your frame rate. So I'm going to walk down here a little bit and I'm going to try to show you. You get a little bit of ghosting. This is where little things become not noticeable, not a problem whatsoever, but obviously if you look closely you'll be able to see little things. So like say for example Cyberpunk, your crosshair in the middle of your screen, well if you move left to right like I am now like this, you will see like a kind of ghost effect, which is kind of, it's not noticeable unless you look at it. And if you're just playing the game like complete normal, you'll never notice it. So it doesn't really cause any problems whatsoever, but I think Ghost of Tsushima works. Obviously you see a little bit of ghosting around the character. Obviously if I move pretty quick, it's very unnoticeable. Like you would only notice it if you're looking at it. But it feels so smooth. You can, like the mouse, there's just no lag, there's no input lag, there's no stuttering. Obviously it depends on your hard drives and stuff like that and what you're using and your hardware that you've already got on your PC. Obviously I've got this installed on a HDD, which I probably should have it installed on an SSD, but it's completely up to you what you install it on. But honestly, it feels absolutely amazing. Could not recommend this program anymore. But let's jump back to my face and let's just have a little sum up of pretty much what you've seen. So that is Lossless scaling for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Obviously go check it out on Steam. I'd 100 billion% recommend go checking out this app. It is really good. Like I said, if you have like a budget PC, like a mid-range to low-range PC, and you just want to get them a little bit more frames in your games, like I said, it feels very, very playable. I've had no issues whatsoever with using this program so far. Everything's worked completely fine. Yeah, see if you guys can play around with it. I know I've heard stories of it not working properly in certain games, but I know it works really well in older games. Like say for example the first Crisis, which apparently is the hardest game ever to run, which is just, I don't know if it's a rumour or not, I've never actually tried it myself. But it has been your boy, Simply Mac, or you can just call me Mac or whatever you want to call me, I don't really care to be honest. But hope you guys have enjoyed this video and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.